population, and that has come to show, in just the way that things have played out. And leading up to these elections, everyone could see that there was a momentum. There was a momentum that was growing, and it wasn't really revolving around any particular personality in particular. It was more about, look, we're going into this process again, and what we would like to achieve is being able to choose this time around. What has happened over time, and this entire thing that's happening now is not new to us. It's what is normally expected. They come and they do this wuru, and people's votes don't count. And even coming into these elections, most people are saying, oh, our votes wouldn't count because that's the way they do it normally. We'll go there, we'll waste our time, they will just come and they will do what they want to do. So everyone was feeling hopeful that this time around, it wouldn't be business as usual. Everyone was hoping that we would come, we would vote, and that our votes would count. And I couldn't even believe what I was seeing, even as the elections were happening. People were determined. It was raining cats and dogs. People stood in the rain. It was, the sun was a furnace, earlier in the day. People stood and people made sure that they voted, because everyone wanted to see something different this time around. And like I said earlier on, it was just deeply, deeply disappointing, very heartbreaking, terribly heartbreaking to say the least, the way everything played out.
And presumably it is that spirit of disappointment that you've captured in your new song, because I noticed that it's clearly not a song designed to help people rise above all the political sort of sectionalism and frustrations and so on. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's helping, aiming to help people find the best way to move forward from this election.
Music is a medium of expression. It's an expression of rage. It's an expression of frustration. It's an expression of anger. It's fury. This is the way that we're feeling. And it's absolutely nothing I'm saying on this record, or Vector is saying on this record, that hasn't occurred. It's not, we're not fabricating facts. We're not making things up. We're not painting a scenario that did not occur. I'm telling you things as they happened. We went out there, we voted, and suddenly everything was scattered before our very eyes. And absolutely nothing was done about that. And even upon all the numerous cases of violence that we witnessed, upon all the very shoddy and shabby looking manipulated results that we saw with our very eyes, the INEC chairman still went on to declare a winner. And as for the presidential election, as the presidential election is concerned, in the dead of the night, so I mean, it was all just a big mess. It was all a big mess.
And I noticed that you use quite a bit of Yoruba language in the song, as well as, of course, Pidgin and English. Is that aimed at infusing the color, the song with color, invigorating it with drama, or is there a deeper, perhaps more political reason?
I'm a Yoruba speaker myself. I'm a Pidgin speaker myself. These are Nigerian languages. I always aim to stay as true to myself as possible in every way that I express my art, and that pretty much is what that was. I always express both in English and my native languages. With majority of my records, and majority of the song is in English anyway. So I think that's why everyone instantly resonated with it, because they can clearly understand what's happening in there. And even the parts that are in Yoruba, because you have context of the entire record, you can pretty much figure out what I'm saying, in those parts as well.
Yeah, well, I've listened to it, and I could pretty much make out, you're right there, everything that you were saying. But what makes you express your art politically the way that you do?
I feel very strongly about everything that happens around me. You know, there's no way that I exist in such an environment and not speak about it. I'm deeply, deeply inspired by happenings around me. You know, we make songs, like I said earlier, music is a mode of expression. We make songs about things that happen to us, things that we would want to see, or things that we imagine would happen. In this case, these are happenings that I'm witnessing on a daily basis, and I will always speak about these happenings. It didn't start today, it didn't start yesterday, and it will not stop. I will continue to speak about these happenings as much as they affect me and everyone around me.
Well, I mean, you're certainly fearlessly taking on a very important issue, which is the fairness and the credibility of the last election. I mean, where does this fearlessness come from? Is it the fact that you don't have to be there in Nigeria when it all erupts, because of course you are in London at the moment, or you know, or is it the background from which you come? Because I mean, both your parents are human rights activists, and they've taken on the Nigerian state quite fearlessly.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And I knew that was going to come up when you announced that I was doing this from London. I knew that was going to come up. But absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like I said earlier on, this is not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time. I've released tons and tons of records that are very confrontational, you know, similarly confrontational. And I was on ground. I'm always on ground when I release these records. And, you know, it's not to say that you know, I'm running anywhere. Absolutely not. And, you know, everyone knows where to find me if anyone wants to find me. But I have no reason to fear anything. And I always say this when people ask me, oh, how do you do these things, you know, without any fear of consequences or whatever? And to me, it's the kind of life that we're living. And this is the same answer I always give. The kind of life that we're living already is one in which we're more or less fading away already. You know, it's not a meaningful life what we have in Nigeria as a country. Well, it's absolutely not a meaningful life. And what's the worst that could happen? You know, is it death? I don't fear death. You know, what possibly could happen? And I would rather go down fighting for a just cause. I would rather be remembered as someone that lived a life that was meaningful, rather than someone that, for example, was walking down the road and got run over by a downfall because he was driving recklessly, or someone that got a heart disease and could not save himself because there are no hospitals capable of saving him in Nigeria. You know, so I'll prefer to go down in this type of way. Like I said, to me, it's a more meaningful life.
Well, that's a very profound statement that you've made. And beyond your own personal safety, are you concerned about how the Nigerian authorities might react to this, your latest work? Because, I mean, as I said, your big hit of 2018, This Is Nigeria, was banned from the airwaves because the National Broadcasting Commission thought it was vulgar and unfit for broadcast. What do you think is likely to be the fate of this latest track, Yakubu, which has already gone viral?
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a similar reaction, you know, but at the end of the day, it would be too late, just like it was in the This Is Nigeria scenario. The song and video have already gone viral, like you said. The message, excuse me, the message has been received. Everyone resonates with the message already. So regardless of whatever ban, whatever reaction might come from the government or the ruling party, I could care less. I could care less at this point.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, we have to find a way in this country to move forward. After what seems to be the yawning divide created by this election, I mean, we've seen it along the lines of politics, religion, ethnicity. How do